Today we're going to be making poppies, and I have two different ways to do it. Poppies are a red flower that are handed out by veterans on usually on Memorial Day or prior to Memorial Day, and they are a symbol of the remembrance of those who we lost serving our country, and it goes way back to around the First World War. And all the fields and the lands that were trampled by the troops and everybody fighting in the wars. Poppies, the flower, was one of the first flowers to actually rise from those lands, and there's a Canadian author that wrote a poem about it. So they kind of became this symbol of remembrance of those who have fallen. So we are going to make some poppies today. So the supplies that you'll need, so one of them, we're going to just paint them on paper. So you'll need some paper, you'll need some paints. I've got red and black and green, and you'll need a paintbrush and a little bowl to clean your paintbrush off in. You'll also need some little tools. You can use your fingerprint if you want. You can paint circles, or you can use some tools that you find around the house just to kind of do a stamp. So I've got a bottle cap here, and I've got a cork. So I'm going to show you how I did those. For the other project, you're going to need an egg carton, a popsicle stick, and the same paints that I described, the red, the black, and the green, and some glue, and some scissors. So the first one is very simple. We're just going to paint some poppies, almost like a poppy field on our page. You can do just one poppy. You can do multiple poppies. That's totally up to you. But all I did, very simply, is I took some paint, put it on my little paper plate here that I like to use, and I took my tools. So I decided to use this one for the red, and I dipped it in my paint, and I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, and like a diamond shape or a square shape, whatever you like to call it. I let that dry for a little bit, and then I took my other tool and I dipped that in my black, and I put the black right in the middle there. Then I used one of my thinner paintbrushes and just drew a little line down there, and so 2 little lines for the stem. So I've got 4 little poppies here. Like I said, you get to make as many as you want. 1, a dozen, whatever you want to do. So there's our first project for the poppies. Very, very simple. The next project we're going to do is with egg carton. So I've got my egg carton here, and I cut out a little square of my egg carton. So I'm going to cut another one out here for you. Now I cut it out being very careful to make sure that my sides were preserved. I kind of cut it right down that middle piece right there so that I still have 4 somewhat even sides. The next step is going to be forming our petals. So what I did is I just went in between each of the 4 sides, so on those little corners there, and cut a little V, so I'm cutting out that corner. You see that right there? So I'm going to do that to all 4 corners. Cut out that little tiny V. So that I separate all of my petals. Okay, so they're all separated right there. And then I'm just going to use my scissors, and I'm going to round around on the edges a little bit to make that really soft round petal shape. So very simply just kind of going to use my scissors and trim around just to make it not so angled. No corners. You see that? So look at that one versus like this one. Definitely needs to be trimmed up. Now it's kind of got a funky shape to it. So here's one that I finished right before that. So you can see how nice and smooth those little petals are. But there you go. Very, very easy. That's the hardest part of this part of the project. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to paint the inside and then the outside of your poppy red. I might take more than 1 coat because sometimes the shiny texture of the egg carton kind of creates some streaks. So if you don't really like those streaks, you might like them for texture. You could always do another coat. So I did the inside first so I could hold it. I let that dry, did something else, came back, put it in my hand, and did the outside. Then I did the inside. So here again, you can use your little tool to just stamp black on the inside, or use your paintbrush and paint a little circle in there. So it ends up looking something like this. Okay, so red on the back, the bottom, the inside, and then I did that black in the middle there. Then I took a popsicle stick, I just had plain ones, so I painted one green. You could have colorful ones. You might already have one that's green. So here's my green popsicle stick. And then I just took my glue and I glued my poppy to my popsicle stick. So I ended up with something like this. It's a cute little poppy. So you could put this on your page if you wanted to. You could have some poppies in the background and then some 3D poppies popping out like that. Make it a little dimensional on your paper. You could put it in your pocket and wear it for the day. You could even glue a magnet on the back and put it on your fridge. So there's a lot of different things you can do with these. You could put them in a little vase if you had more than one. So there you go, guys. Here's your project for today, some poppies in remembrance of those we have lost in the military. All right, guys, I appreciate your time today. Have fun with this. Post in the comments if you do it so I can see the pictures and have fun. All right, see you next time.